Hello, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is the seventh day of Improve Your Vocabulary in 30 Days. Words about theories. Intelligent. Dinner table conversation will help you give your new words a good tryout. But when you invite people in for dinner, do you always limit your party to your old friends and neighbors? We are all apt to do this, simply because we tend to be lazy. There is a little conversational challenge. However, to old friends, everyone puts on a pair of comfortable slippers and settles down to an evening of gossip. If, however, you mix a new couple with the old crowd, watch how your friends will get on their toes then and try to sell themselves. You will find this tremendously stimulating, and the conversation will begin to sparkle. At such time of the table talk may easily swing to politics or to personal theories on philosophy and religion. Here we come into one of those higher uses of thought that makes serve demands on a knowledge of English. The mentally alert person is not content to live merrily from day to day, completely circumscribed by such things as food, money, clothing, and entertainment. Occasionally, he is tempted to speculate on why he is living and on what the controlling forces of his life are. This chapter deals with a few of the names of word symbols that are applied to these motivating forces, by which different people who have varying points of views. Number 1. Is there a God? Nothing so closely approaches our outer limits of abstraction as theorizing about a supernatural and supreme being. Many of us worship, most of us, at least, accept some form of deity. Do you belong to the minority who insist, often belligerently, that man makes God in his own image, that God is a figment of the imagination and hence completely, irrevocably non existent? Then you are an atheist. Atheist, as in think, and your philosophy is called atheism. Atheism. The word is from the Greek without and theos, God. 2. To many other thinkers, it seems more reasonable to say that the existence or non-existence of a supreme being is one mystery the human mind will never fathom. How did the world come into being? How did life begin? Is there a father who looks after his children? Or are we the products of purposeless chance? Do you answer these questions by saying that no one knew and no one can ever hope to know? Then you're an agnostic. Agnostic. And your doctrine is called agnosticism. Agnosticism. Again, this is formed from the Greek agnostos, which means not knowing. Number 3. Why did that young child dart across the roadway just as a huge truck rounded the bend? How do you explain the needless snuffing out of an innocent life? Is it due to blind chance? To cause and effect? Why should some great benefactor of humanity be cut off in his prime? Are such events controlled by accident? By fate? This word fate is derived from Latin fatus, which means spoken or predicted. Do you believe that everything that happens is predetermined, foreordained, written down, as it were, on the far off pages of some mighty volume? Then you are a fatalist. Fatalist. And your theory is called fatalism. Fatalism. In this world of ours, you will find many people who think only of themselves and of their own selfish advantage, and who actually believe all the virtue consists in the pursuit of self-interest. They make this their religion. Do you think continually of yourself? Are you completely indifferent to the feelings and wishes of others? You are an egoist. Egoist. And your creed is called egoism. Egoism. Characteristically, this word is from the Latin ego, meaning I. Number 5. If, however, your characteristics are opposite to those of an egoistic, and if you have an unselfish regard for the devotion to the interests of others, you are an altruist. Altruist. And your practice altruism. Altruism. The relationship of this word to the Latin alter, meaning other, is plainly understandable. Number 6. Can you rise above petty considerations of pleasure and pain, joy and grief? Can you meet adversity with indifference and submit to the arrows and slings of misfortune with a dignified resignation? Can you put away envy, greed, jealousy, and hatred, and the appetites and passions of the world? Can you suffer mental and physical pain without complaint? If you can honestly do such things as these, and if you sincerely believe that this is the better scheme of living, you will be named a Stoic. Stoic. And are a practitioner of Stoicism. Stoicism. The founder of Stoicism was the Greek philosopher Zeno, who lived about 300 years before Christ. Stoic is from the Greek word stoikos, which in turn is from stoa, meaning porch. Zeno thought that the stoa poikile, or painted porch, situated in Athens. Number 7. Are you apt to say, no, other nation can hold a candle to my country. We are the supermen, the chosen people. Every other race is inferior to mine, and they are all destined to be your slaves when the day comes. This is not patriotism, or rather, it is patriotism carried to an illogical and ludicrous extreme. Do you happen to talk this way? Then you're a chauvinist. 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 And you are a follower of chauvinism. Chauvinism. This word is based on the name of a real man, Nicolas Chauvin of Rochefort, who was so demonstrative in his devotion to Napoleon and the imperial cause that he was ridiculed on the French stage at that time. Number 8. 8. Are you a braggart about your country's power? Do you always want your nation to use force? Do you want to call out the fleet, the air armada, and the army on the slightest provocation, and send our soldiers and sailors round the world to show those damn foreigners who's the boss? Do the other nations want war? We will give it to them. And if they don't want it, we will give it to them anyway. If this should be a description of your philosophy, then you're a jingoist. Jingoist. And your heart beats in tune with the martial music of jingoism. Jingoism. The Jingos were originally a section of Conservative Party in England in 1877 who were eager to have their nation support the Turks and the Russo-Turkish War. Number 9. Is it best that our government should follow the political faith, methods, and tenets of our fathers and grandfathers, or shall we move rapidly ahead, change constantly, explore and experiment? Those who believe in liberalism follow the latter philosophy. They owe allegiance to no party, are independent in thought and action, and are always anathema to those who wish the government to pursue the well-trod paths. Liberals prefer a changing, dynamic, experimenting government. They vote for progress, sometimes in the sense that anything new and different and previously untried is progressive. The Romans gave us the word liber, meaning free. Number 10. The conservative, on the other hand, is opposed to change. He believes that what is best. He prefers that his government follow the familiar, tried, tested, safe, and supposedly sane policies. We are content with what we have. Why take the risk of sailing into uncharted waters? Here we can go back again to the Latin, this time to conservare, meaning to preserve. Liberalism is dynamic, conservatism is static. In politics, these two wings of the government are to the left and right, respectively. Extreme liberals still further to the left are called radicals. Extreme conservatives, who are far to the right, are called reactionaries. Conservatives want to keep things as they are. Reactionaries wish to turn the clock back to the good old days. Radical is from the Latin radicalis, meaning pertaining to roots or thoroughgoing, and reactionary goes back to the Latin re, back, and agere, to lead. What type of life is the best? To one group of thinkers that questions has simple answers, that life is the most successful, says Epicurean, Epi-Q-Re-N, which brings to each person the maximum of pleasure and the minimum of pain. The doctrine of Epicureanism, Epi-Q-Re-N-ism, teaches that pleasure is the chief good. In these modern days, the meaning of the word has changed somewhat, and an Epicurean is thought of more particularly as one who enjoys the delights of the table and who is expert and fastidious in his choice of food. This philosophy was founded by Epicurus, the Greek scholar who lived about 3 centuries before Christ. At this point, you had better review the words that you have studied in this chapter. You're going to be asked some questions about them. Which one of the people whose philosophies have been described in the preceding paragraphs would be the most apt to make each of the following statements? Now let's look at the answers. If you're still not done with the answers, then pause the video and keep answering the questions. I am interested in the welfare of the other fellow, not in my own. That will be an altruist. Let the other fellow take care of himself. My interests come first, last, and always. This person is known as an egoist. My nation is the only one in the world that has any good points. A person like this is a chauvinist. Chauvinist. Let's not stand still in politics. Progress, change, experimentation. That's what we need. Liberal. Happiness, pleasure, fun, good eating. These are the most important things in life. Epicurean. There's a God. Don't be silly. Only stupid people believe in God. Atheist. Maybe there's a God. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. And I don't believe anybody else does or ever will know. Agnostic. The wise, the brave man isn't different to pain and pleasure. Stoic. We will build up our troops and our navy. We will arm to the hilt. Then we will dare any nation in the world to knock the chip off our shoulders. Jingoist. You can't change the future. It's all planned and written down. Fatalist. Fatalist. Let's keep things just as they are. We're getting along all right. So why fool around with any dangerous, half-baked, newfangled theories? Conservative or reactionary? Adjectives can, of course, be made of all the nouns that have appeared in this chapter. Here are the forms that they take. Altruism, altruistic. Atheism, atheistic. Agnosticism, agnostic. Fatalism, fatalistic. Egoism, egoistic. Stoicism, stoical. Chauvinism, chauvinistic. Jingoism, jingoistic. Liberalism, liberal. Conservatism, conservative. Epicureanism, Epicurean. Now, referring to the above list, try to fit the correct adjective in each of the following phrases. Now let's look at the answers. If you're still not done, then pause the video and start and keep answering the questions. The dash attitude of the ungodly. Atheistic. The dash doubts of the skeptical. The agnostic doubts of the skeptical. Age tends to bring a dash tinge to one's politics. age tends to bring a conservative tinge to one's politics. Politically, youth is inclined to be liberal, the dash flavor of Oriental religions, the flavor, the fatalistic flavor of Oriental religions, the narrow dash desires of the conceited, the narrow egoistic desires of the conceited, the dash resignation of those who have suffered so much, the the stoical resignation of those who have suffered much, the dash blatancy of professional flag wavers, the chauvinistic blatancy of professional flag wavers, the dash desires of the self-indulgent, the Epicurean desires of the self-indulgent, the jingoistic diplomacy of the munitions markers, the altruistic work of Marie and Marie Curie. Unless you have met these words before, you will find their definitions hard to keep in mind. But they are the words of power, and powerful vocabulary is one that can put into effective words the thoughts and feelings you have in your mind. More than that, new words will actually give you new and deeper thoughts and feelings and will strengthen and enrich your thinking. That's it for today. This is the end of chapter 7. To be continued. Thank you for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe.